Hey, what's going on guys? This is Callum here from Hairy Haggis FPV, and today we're going to be having a little look at the ZOHD Talon GT. Okay, so let's get right into this. So this is the Talon GT. It's the brand new model from ZOHD. It's sporting a 1000mm wingspan, and they're saying that it's to be sort of for a long range cruiser. The Talon series has been very popular in the long range and also the cruising aspect of FPV, flying wings, and I think this is going to be a great addition to what ZOHD have already brought to the hobby already. So you'll notice here that it looks quite similar to the likes of a Nano Talon, but then it's the mid-sized between the Nano Talon and the Mini Talon. So obviously ZOHD, they've done a fantastic job here on the modelling. I do believe that they've actually programmed like this into the computer, and also like they've basically made the airfoil suited to this exact wing. So it's, you know, it looks great, but we'll have to see how great it flies, to be quite honest with you. I do think it's going to fly just as good as the Nano Talon and also the Mini Talon, just looking at the overall spec of the thing. So you'll see here it's got the nose that the Dart XL also had. You'll also see videos of that on my channel. So it's got a very similar nose. You've got the little FPV camera cut out. It does look like there's a little bit you could pull out to fit a slightly larger lens. You've also got the slot here for the likes of a GoPro Hero camera, and you could also fit like a Runcam 3 or a GoPro Session in it as well there. They do provide you with different foam inserts for the inside. So you'll see this one's for the Session. You've got this one here, which is for the Runcam HD 2 and 4, it's saying here as well. So I think I'll probably use this one if I ever use the Hawkeye Firefly Q6 in my wing. This one here is for the GoPro 5, 6 and 7, so that's your Hero style cameras. And this one here is for the Runcam 3S. So they do provide you with some different inserts for inside the nose here. So what we'll do is we'll open it up, we'll spin the wing around, and I will let you see inside. So in there is where exactly those foam inserts are going to slot in. So you're going to have this one here for your GoPro and whatnot, and then up there you're going to have your FPV camera. I'll probably be running a dual camera setup in this, so I'm going to have a split in there and also a separate FPV camera, and they're going to be able to be swapped out. So you'll see you've got a ZOHD branded battery strap in there, quite a nice big chunky one. We'll see later on about what sort of size batteries we can fit in this wing. I'm sure we're going to be or I know I'm certainly going to try and fit a 4S5200 in here, because I do think that this sort of style of wing would be able to take something like that. You'll see they do provide you with an XT60 for the battery connection. We'll open up the second hatch here, and this is when we start getting down to business. So you'll see in here there is a load of servo wires, so you've got lots of servo connectors. So it looks here like you've got one for the ailerons on a little Y harness. You also have, they're using the 6-pin that the Dart came with for the wings. So the wings are detachable as well. And they do actually have little bays just underneath in here and also in here. And you'll see that they do run a separate servo connector in the wing as well, along with those servos. We'll come to those again later. So they do obviously provide you with a lot of the servo stuff in there, and this one here I do believe is going to be for your throttle. and they also do provide you quite nicely with an extra JST if you're wanting to run any auxiliary power off of the battery, which is quite nice. So at the back here as well, we've got the V-tail, and this is actually a removable V-tail, which is quite a nice design, I think, from previous models like the Mini Talon, where it didn't have a removable V-tail. From what I remember, I've not got a Mini Talon myself, but yeah, I definitely do think that it's sort of like a glued in job. Whereas the Nano Talon, I know, has the magnetic V-tail. I used to have a Nano Talon myself, so I know roughly my way around that thing. So you'll see here there's one of the little style 90-degree locks, so that's closed, and you've got open for taking it off. Now I am filming this with my phone and you'll see it's just sprung off there. So that's the V-tail there. You'll see that it is running separate servos, and I do believe those are the Metal Gear 9-gram servos that they're using again. Quite nice design here. They've also included a little bit of fuel tubing sort of stuff to keep those control horns secured, which is always nice to know for your long range FPV. And then this is the inside here of the actual wing. So it does look like they've upgraded the ESC from the one that was in the Dart previous. So this time they're using a 40 amp ESC. It's rated for 2 to 4S still. I mean, you're not going to be running 6S on this kind of wing as it is. It's also got a 5 volt 3 amp BEC on it, which is quite nice. If you're not planning to use a flight controller with this, you'll be able to power your servos from that. And this little bit here is another little 6-pin connector for your detachable V-tail, so you'll see it just slots into that there. So that provides a nice little connection there for hot swapping and that. So like I said, it's got a 40 amp ESC. The motor that you're going to be swinging is a 2216 1300 kV. So this is the same one that's on the Dart already. It's part of their Mark II series that they're running on the ZOHD line of products now. So it's using slightly higher quality components than previous, from what I've heard. And they're also sort of using this as a way to bring in their new foam, which I'll come to in a wee minute. So it's also swinging an 8x5 inch prop, which is quite nice. I know previously in the Dart XL it had a 9x4.5 inch prop, and I do know on very high throttle I was getting about 30 amps, it was pulling about 30 amps, but there wasn't a lot of between 15 amps and 30 amps, there wasn't a lot more thrust, sorry. So I do think the 8x5 prop is going to be a nice addition to this one. You'll also see in here, this actually says GPS on it, if my camera will focus. There we go, so it does say GPS on it, and this is a little place that they're allowing you to put your GPS in. I'm not 100% sure just yet about how to get into that. It might well be... yeah, I'm going to have to look into that, but I do believe this sort of thing will pop off and you'll be able to glue it back on with a GPS stuck under there as well, which is quite nice. So the foam that they're using just now is this new foam that ZOHD, and there's been a lot of controversy with this foam. So it's called BEPP, which means Biodegradable EPP foam. So this one, they're saying that obviously it's not going to biodegrade over a couple of years, but it's a lot better compared to the plastic foam that normal EPP is made of. Obviously, you know about the whole saving the planet and things being now biodegradable, which is obviously quite nice to save the planet at the same time. So they're using this foam. It is, I have to say, actually a slightly denser foam compared to the Dart XL. So I think the little guy in the factory has cranked up the foam quite a bit on his little machine. You'll see here on the leading edges of the wing that there is a little bit of protection. Now it does only come sort of along halfway of the actual wingspan of the craft itself, but I really don't think you're going to be running into anything here. Maybe the odd tree, but this is really meant for sort of cruising, and I do think that, you know, it's quite a nice wee addition that they've at least added something onto it instead of just the white foam that you do see here. Also with the wing, I have noticed, I'll have to get down into a sniper style position here. You will see the way the wing sits is a slight high alpha, so it's a slightly higher angle of attack into the wind. Now this is quite nice because it is going to improve, you know, sort of a nice cruise attitude to the plane, and certainly with the nose being slightly angled downwards with the camera, I do think it's going to sit quite nicely into the airflow. We'll just obviously have to wait and see how it flies, as I said, but it is quite a nice design there. So the wings, as I say earlier, do come off. There is little screws in here, and those just unscrew. They are quite tight in, but there we go. So they don't come fully out, they just sort of hang there, which is nice, so you're not going to lose them that easily. And the wings do come out, they're quite tight in, which is just what we need for being able to transport this thing around in the car, but also stick it together, and when we go flying we've not got a fear of those wings coming off. So I'll go over, I said earlier about the Metal Gear servos in the wings and also in the V-tail. They're using a sort of ball hinge here, which I do believe is quite a nice addition to your standard sort of hinge that you'd usually have. And also on the bottom plate you do have a very nice black plastic that's going to provide a quite nice skid plate over just the standard foam. You've also got a little exit hole for any ventilation in the back, and you do have some extra little fins on here. They do provide you with an extra set of those as well, so which is very nice. I'm so glad that they've done that, because there's again been a lot of people saying, oh, you know, those things are just going to get ripped off, and unless, you know, I think ZOHD said this himself, unless you're landing on rocks at 100 kilometers an hour, I don't really think they're going to rip off. But as I say, we can only wait and see. I am planning to add some little 3D printed bits here, just to protect them just a little bit more. And I will also be coming out with some little 3D prints for this wing. I've just acquired a 3D printer myself, so I can start printing there. They also provide you with this little U-shape block of foam with a nice ZOHD brand on it. I do believe this is for the actual wing itself. So what you can do, let me just see how this slots in here. There we go, so I do believe it just slots in like so into this back area here, and this really just allows you to maintain the actual flying angle of the aircraft for setting up your flight controller. That's quite a nice wee addition, I have to say. It is a bit chunky, but at the end of the day, you know, that's something I'll just be storing in the house. But it's, as I say, quite a nice wee addition there to have that. So what do I plan to run in the wing? I plan to run a Maytech F722 wingboard in here. So I'll most likely be slotting that in here. I'll have all the stuff mounted inside. So as I say, I'm going to have my GPS up in here, the flight controller in there, quite a big battery, and obviously a couple of cameras in the front, and possibly one on the V-tail as well, looking back. Because I do think this is going to be quite a nice plane for flying with my mates and doing some long range cruising. So again, ZOHD, they've come out with another fantastic model, and I do believe this is going to be a very popular one with the long range cruising sort of guys. I've been Callum with Hairy Haggis FPV, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. It was a nice quick one, but take it easy.